This video presents our paper titled Decoupling Physical and Virtual Spaces for New Collaboration Strategies in Co-located Mixed Reality Instruments, presented at NIME 2025. Mixed reality opens exciting possibilities for co-located musical collaboration. However, most instruments strictly couple the physical and virtual spaces, limiting musicians' freedom to navigate or scale their view independently. We introduce Grainy Cloud, a co-located mixed reality musical instrument that allows each musician to manipulate their viewpoint independently by translating, rotating, and scaling their view, effectively decoupling physical and virtual spaces. This enables each performer to explore the shared virtual structure in their own way, while avatars provide a visual representation of each other's viewpoint. Grainy Cloud uses a Godot-based setup with clients on each headset and a central server for synchronizing state and sound synthesis via pure data. The system supports polyphonic interaction and real-time feedback. Grainy Cloud introduces 3 modes of viewing the shared virtual environment: fixed, where all musicians see the space aligned with the physical room; self, where a musician manipulates their own view independently; and other, which lets them adopt their partner's perspective. Users can transition between these modes either explicitly using joystick input or implicitly when manipulating their viewpoint. During our self-guided improvisation sessions, we observed a range of collaborative strategies that were made possible by viewpoint decoupling. Musicians easily avoided physical conflicts by translating the virtual space, used zooming to access different interaction scales, and fluidly switched between their own and their partner's views to coordinate or experiment. Interestingly, the fixed viewpoint, where the virtual space remains aligned with the physical one, was rarely used. We believe this is caused by the fact that 2 performers only need to go into the other viewpoint to coordinate, and expect a different result with a larger group. Our work with Grainy Cloud shows that decoupling physical and virtual viewpoints introduces new forms of interaction that support both independent and shared musical activity. Ensuring awareness of others' perspective, especially when views diverge, is key to preserving collaboration. Smooth transitions and scalable interaction techniques can help musicians maintain coherence, in particular as the number of collaborators increases or the musical structure grows in complexity. These insights open perspectives for designing future mixed reality instruments, especially those that value exploratory or improvisational practices. Further studies with diverse musicians and contexts will be important to fully understand how this approach shapes collective expression. Thank you for watching. For more details on Grainy Cloud and our findings, please check out our full paper.
We usually think of this as a musical instrument and this as infrastructure. But what if we flipped the script?
Hi, I'm Char. I work on sound concepts and interaction, looking ways to make systems respond.
And I'm Johannes. I think every building should be creatively tinkered with by its users.
Hi. I'm Alexander, and I explore how sound, space, and the body intersect, particularly in strange places.
I'm Maha, and I think buildings can groove. Ventilation systems are networks of tubes, ducts, and openings that move air through buildings. That air creates sound. It hums, hisses, rattles. It resonates. In that sense, They behave like wind instruments, like saxophones. The vents? Well, they're like tone holes. The fans? Like the breath of the performer. And if you can shape the airflow, you can shape the sound.
Just like a musician controls pitch by opening or closing keys, we manipulate vents to modify the soundscape of a room.
We asked, what if we could compose with ventilation? With small interventions that turn airflow into sound and interaction.
We built an extended ventilation turned into a sound maze, which let the air pass through freely, just like before, but removing the sound entirely, turning it instead into a silent light installation.
Even a piece of paper can become a filter or a mute. If you cover your ventilation here with this, and you can get this really nice whispering sound effects.
The first time the van started sounding Morse code, I thought, wait, is Lab asking for help?
Each hack plays with what's already there. We don't build new instruments, we reveal the musicality of existing systems. We added foam, paper, fans, sensors. Some hacks muffled the sound, others turned vents into wind instruments. With a little code, airflow became expressive. We treated buildings as collaborators, spaces became players, and airflow, that's our instrument's voice.
But this is about more than sonification. It's about people feeling the systems around them.
And encouraging them to interact with and shape their soundscape.
Ventilation is invisible until it's not. It is health, it is energy, it is acoustics, but it can also be something creative, playful, and musical.
When you start treating infrastructure as sound, you realize every system has a voice. You just have to listen differently.
We call it vent hacks, but really, it's just a way to play the ever-existing structures around you.
Creating a real-time, responsive hand-balancing interface with Hand CS by Linnea Kirby, Christiana Rose, Jeremy Cooperstock, and Marcella Wanderley. Hand CS is a new interdisciplinary interface for expression that utilizes micro-movements within hand balancing to generate music and light. Hand CS was initially developed as an extension of Hand, haptics-assisted inversion device, a pedagogical tool by Linnea Kirby for learning handstands. We wanted to highlight the effort that goes and nuance required to perform a handstand to audience members. We wanted to create intrinsic links between performer, sound, light, space, and audience. We also wanted to design an interface that was safe for the performer to use and wouldn't impede their movement. Hand CS embodies our personal motivation and interest in making the ordinary extraordinary through clever, subtle, and deliberate attention to the integration of movement, music, interactive technology, and light.
The mat used is the Sensing Text pressure mat. The mat feels similar to a yoga mat, which is a common hand balancing surface. The sensing area is 480 millimeters by 480 millimeters and contains a 48 by 48 array of pressure sensors. Each sensor is 6 millimeters in diameter with a 10 millimeter sensor element resolution. The base software takes the raw pressure data from the Sensing Text mat as input. It then uses a k-means clustering algorithm to determine the two hand clusters. Once the hand clusters are determined, the centers of pressure are calculated. both within each hand as well as between hands. Because this software was adapted from a pedagogical tool, it also calculates the ideal between-hand center of pressure and finds the correction vector from the current to the ideal center of pressure. HandCS also keeps track of the 4 points containing the maximum and minimum X and Y values for each hand.
In this initial version, there are 2 primary sound modules. The Plink module generates digital percussive tones that are then enriched with delay and reverb. The Pitch and Time Stretch module dynamically manipulates pre-composed material, controlling 4 sound files that weave percussive, melodic, and harmonic elements crafted from metal, wood, and electric organ recordings. The maximum and minimum values from each hand are used to control the playback, pitch, and time stretch parameters of the pre-composed materials. The correction vector for the hand's balance dynamically adjusts stereo panning, ensuring that subtle shifts in pressure are felt spatially too. Preset thresholds within the sensor range trigger the percussive tones, symbolizing the continuous effort behind every balancing moment. This design not only allows performers to actively sculpt the soundscape, but also lets the system run autonomously, reinforcing a dynamic, symbiotic relationship between movement and sound.
In addition to sonifying pressure, we wanted to expose some of the muscle micro-adjustments required to maintain balance. We created a pair of sleeves that convert muscle activity into light. The MyoAware muscle sensors use surface electromyography to monitor changes in electrical activity of a target muscle group. The electrical signals are transformed into a visual representation on an LED display. The intensity of the lights on the display directly correlate to the intensity of the muscle activity. To activate a muscle group, such as when flexing the wrist, significant electrical activity is produced. Consequently, the LED display produces intense light. To maintain such a position, electrical activity is still generated, though the intensity is reduced, which is reflected on the LED display.
NCS is still very much in its infancy. There are several directions we are pursuing. The first being Stasis, a 3-minute-long piece that explores themes of perception, effort, and stillness. Stasis exposes the effort required to perform a basic handstand and asks the audience to contemplate ideas about equilibrium and the subtle shifts needed to maintain stillness. We are also hoping to port HandCS to an open-source program like Pure Data. We are going to be adding finer control and more nuanced expression, and we'll be looking for further collaboration because the mat is not limited by weight to add multiple people, multiple performers. Please check out our paper for more information and details, or reach out to us directly via our emails. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maya. Today I'm going to be talking about Vivo, which is a tool for combining visualization with vocalization in the form of a lighted keyboard. Vocalization is the practice of using your voice to render pitches, melodies, and rhythms out loud. Many prominent music education methods, such as Delcroze, Gordon, Kodaly, Orff, and Suzuki, employ vocalization as a crucial step in developing an intuitive sense of music. Vocalization has been shown to improve beginner musicians' sense of pitch and improves the ability of both musicians and non-musicians to remember melodies. Visualization in music education involves using a visual representation of a musical concept to aid understanding and engagement with the music. A variety of visualization approaches for learning piano have been explored, including light-up keys, connected computer screens, YouTube videos, projected animations, rendered virtual models, and augmented reality overlays. Despite all this work, visualizing vocalizations created by the student themselves has seen little attention. Here is a schematic diagram of Vivo, in which the user sings and lights up the corresponding keys on a keyboard. This is a short demo of Vivo in action with the song Fly Me to the Moon. Fly me to the moon, fly me to the moon. Vivo is designed to enable real-time visualizations of vocalizations to leverage the benefits of both practices to make learning piano more fun, intuitive, and engaging. The main design goals are accurate pitch detection within 2 to 3 Hz, real-time signal processing and visual feedback, portable and low cost, less than $100, compatible with existing MIDI keyboards, and the ability to record and play back vocalizations for repeated practice. The system has 2 modes of operation, real-time mode and practice mode. The input is determined by the mixer. In real-time mode, user vocalizations are processed from the live microphone input. Note onsets and pitches are extracted from the input audio, and corresponding pitches on the keyboard are illuminated in real time. For practice mode, recordings are played on demand with associated pitches concurrently illuminated. A bandpass filter is used for both modes to filter out background noise and target the human singing range, which is contained within the 130 to 2000 Hz range. Here are the first 4 notes of the song Autumn Leaves. You can see that the vocalists often bend into notes, and that the variation of the vocalist while singing a note is larger than the algorithmic variation. This diagram shows that the yin and FFT compare well to the crepe algorithm, as both vertical edges of the rectangle are thresholds for another note. In conclusion, Vivo works and meets all of the design goals. The yin and FFT algorithms compare well with crepe, which is the industry standard, and the variation in singing at the start of notes was the largest source of error. In the future, Vivo could be expanded to support simple polyphonic input, which would enable visualization of inputs beyond user vocalization, to include content such as recorded music or online music lesson videos. Vivo could also be used for other instruments like the guitar, through a lighted fretboard, or even offer an intuitive route to learn novel musical interfaces that have uncommon pitch layouts, such as the Linstrument, which has both MIDI-controlled lighted keys and a layout unfamiliar to most musicians. Thank you so much for watching.
The EV, an iterative journey in digital acoustic string instrument augmentation. Hi, I'm Brian Lindgren, and this is a short overview of my instrument, the EV, a digitally augmented string instrument designed to explore the boundary between acoustic and electronic sound. Over the past few years, I've been developing the EV through a process of iterative prototyping, rethinking the design of the instrument's body, its sensing systems, and the software that drives it. The result is EV 2.5, a reliable, expressive platform for electronic performance that maintains the nuance of traditional string playing. At the heart of the EV is a real physical string, bowed or plucked just like a normal viola. But instead of simply amplifying the string's sound, the EV uses it to control and shape synthesized audio, not just controlling parameters like pitch or volume, but fusing the acoustic and electronic signals through FFT convolution. This creates a hybrid timbre that feels both organic and otherworldly. The EV enables performances where gesture and expression are not just preserved, but central to the musical experience. EV 2.5 introduces a number of critical improvements over the previous 2 versions. It uses infrared pickups and a custom-built 3D printed body to track each string independently with minimal crosstalk. A new zero-crossing pitch tracking system eliminates previous needs for manual calibration, improving responsiveness and accuracy. The EV's pure data-based framework was conceived as a full-featured synthesis platform, supporting the addition of new processing modules alongside a rich suite of existing ones. These include 3 synthesizers, 4 FFT convolution algorithms, a physical model, reverb, granular delay, and a buffer freeze effect, all available on each of the 11 mixer channels. Signal paths support up to 8 channels per module, enabling rich and immersive multi-channel sound. Additionally, the instrument includes third-order ambisonics and a flexible CV matrix, resulting in dynamic control over space and timbre. Each string has its own synthesis engine enabling a rich palette available to the performer. Altogether, the system can generate and process up to 324 simultaneous voices. All of this is supported by a rich software environment built in pure data running on a laptop. The EV has already been used in live performances and new compositions. It's also been adapted as a live processor for other ensembles, extending its possibilities beyond solo string performance. I'm currently developing EV3, which will be fully self-contained with onboard processing by 4 Bella single-board computers. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll enjoy the paper where you'll find more information on the EV's journey. I'll conclude with a few musical excerpts demonstrating EV 2.5.
Hello and welcome to our remote poster on Sonicolor exploring colour control of sound synthesis with interactive machine learning, with me, Tago Flati, the paper's first author. Cross-modal correspondences, including associations between timbre and colour, are a relatively common cognitive phenomenon. A rare medical form of this, known as audiovisual synesthesia, involves a person having consistent and memorable mappings. Although research on colour-to-pitch associations and their consistency across different individuals is inconclusive, studies have shown that pitch affects the timbral brightness correlated with the spectrocentroid. Colour-to-sound mappings can be used for performative benefit to allow composers to create more engaging and emotive pieces through changing musical expectations. There exists a long history of work in colour-to-sound mapping, including in converting 2D images into music. This instrument builds upon past work to craft sound from colour using a machine learning approach with trainable open mappings and dynamic control of a single synthesized sound. We explore the research question, what can colour-to-sound mappings offer regarding unexplored benefits to performability and creative affordances? In creating our prototype instrument, we used a sustainable approach with reclaimed, recycled and natural materials used wherever possible. The instrument uses a laser-cut compact wooden case with acrylic inlays for durability. It includes a 3D printed colour wheel with optional colour filters to change the sensed colour wheel colours. The instrument's controls use a colour sensor, Bella trill square, potentiometer and accelerometer connected to an Arduino. To output sound from the sensed inputs, open sound control is used between the Arduino and a 25-voice additive synthesizer created within Max 8. The colour sensor values are passed to a Wekinator-based supervised neural network machine learning model to control the ADSR envelope times and the LFO frequencies and ratios for each synthesizer voice. The model successfully predicts unseen colours, with colour-to-sound mappings created using the first author's interpretation of Adeli and colleagues' proposed associations. We will now show a short demonstration of the instrument in use. opinion of the first author, colour-to-sound mappings can be customised to the personal views and needs of the performer. The instrument does appear to support the existence of colour-to-sound mapping through cross-modal correspondences, and it was observed that as the pitch or spectral centroid lowers, so too does the perceived timbral brightness, supporting the dependence and interplay previous studies identified, while colour also notably has an impact on brightness. However, there are slight inaccuracies in the colour sensor readings, and the instrument has a delayed response to note input. This instrument was an initial exploration into this field, acting as a suitable testbed to explore the performability benefits that colour-to-sound mappings could have. The instrument may be particularly suitable for neurodivergent, synesthetic-inspired, and visual-minded artists and learners, although systematic user studies are required to assess the instrument's performability. Currently, the instrument lacks precise pitch height or pitch class control, and MIDI or external software support, making it hard to use to create compositions. Moreover, results consistency must be validated when the instrument is played with additional instrumentations, and with varied timbre to colour mappings. Thank you for watching, and please feel free to contact us with any questions. In-person participants, if you would like to try the instrument yourself, please visit our friendly colleague Geordie during the Posters 2 session in the Canberra foyer.
I'm here to present a spherical tape topology for nonlinear audio looping. This came from the idea of using an actual tape magnetic medium to record and play back. Here's a quick example of the analog one. For the digital version, I incorporated the rotary encoders already existent in these trackballs with the Bella board. Travel in this motion is about a 1 second per rotation sample. Laterally, you're moving through 90 different tracks or buffers. Sadly, I cannot present other samples at this time because I managed to fry my Bella board. But what I'm going to do now is explain some of the performative possibilities and demonstrate the physical interactions. The size and mass of the trackballs really has a comfortable feel. These have a mass and an inertia, and so if you want to, you can send them spinning, which honestly just sounds like you would expect. But more like even just when you're using it in a slower pace, especially with two hands. It's just a very comfortable interaction that comes out of these spheres. As far as the applications and what I've found to be really exciting with these, on the most basic level, you have situations where you can do a very traditional beat loop. So scratching back and forth, okay, I'm scratching a beat loop, but now you have 90 beat loops potentially that you could be moving between. So now if you're moving this way or this way, you're no longer scratching a single loop, but you're scratching across several, and you can manipulate that. So now you've got a more sort of jazz context to the kinds of audio that you're moving through, and you can kind of keep moving through them and move through several loops. If you put those loops out of sync, then you can do even more crazy ideas with them. Similarly, if you have vocals, as you're moving through a vocal track, now you've got sort of something that sounds like speech but isn't, a kind of glossolalia, speaking in tongues kind of situation. Like, you don't have anymore just this linear, here's someone speaking, here's a loop, and here's how it scratches forwards and backwards. Similarly, when you're scrubbing audio that is also recording, so as you're manipulating here, there's a theoretical playhead here and a theoretical record head over here. So as you're manipulating the playback, you're getting very weird situations that are also recording, And if you move around to the now recorded area and are doing those same motions with the playback, especially with very subtle motions, you get some really interesting, surreal, mixed up messes of audio that are kind of hard to comprehend as far as what they were in the first place and what they are now. And I'm still, well, when I fix the device, still trying to wrap my head around all of the possibilities with that, because it still is not natural to me, but it's incredibly fun.